Good evening, folks. This is Carl, your ticker guy, coming at you from sunny Niceville, Florida, except for one small problem. It is dark out. Hey. Listen, I've been collecting clips and commentary all day on the Fannie and Freddie bailout, and there's only two that I thought were worth presenting. They're both audio bites, and they're from Rush Limbaugh and Lori Ingram. Got to comment on this, guys. Now, I give you my bias here. I am nominally a Republican. This happens to be a speaker's gavel from Mr. Gingrich. Remember? You know, Mr. Gingrich used to be in the House. Yeah. It says right here. Newt. Anyway, without further ado, here we go. We're going to play Rush's clip first, and then we'll play Laura's. And I got a few things to say about both of them.
And the truth be known, these two things have just been little playthings of the Democrats. Remember when we discovered that one of these two, I think it was Fannie Mae, had contributed over $1 million to the Reverend Jackson's Monochrome Coalition? And who the hell knows who else got money? But these were just political playthings of the Democrat Party and the liberal entrenched bureaucracy, passing out money, contributions to various Democrats and so forth.
Okay. Those allegations, I believe, are true. However, they belie the point, which is that these institutions are not just Democrat. And oh, by the way, Laura Ingram, she had to go after it too. Let's go ahead and play hers because really the commentary applies to both. So we're going to put her on tape as well.
It's interesting that if you saw this, this organization, this behemoth headed up by a Republican, that would have been in every article, Jack. Oh, Republican-run Fannie Mae.
Absolutely. It would have been a party. But the Republicans have been outspoken on this for a long time. And Barney Frank, for one, has really held the fort here and kept this thing going.
No, well, he always seems to skate away from these types of things.
It's the speaker's gavel calling you both to order. Let's talk about the truth. The truth is that Fannie and Freddie have spent $200 million over the last 20 years. That money has been spent bribing, essentially, lawmakers, threatening them when they didn't get what they wanted. And oh, by the way, I do seem to remember that we have elected a Republican president twice in a row. In fact, I voted for a Republican president. It'd be George W. Bush twice, 2000, 2004. He does seem to sit in the Oval Office. I believe he's still there until January of this coming year. Then he has to leave because he can't run again. We also have a Republican Congress up until the last couple of years. Now, granted, at the present time, the Congress is Democrat. But wait a minute. It takes 60 votes to override a filibuster, does it not? I do believe it does. And I also seem to recall one Jim Bunning threatening to filibuster this bill. It had this authorization in it. That would be the housing bill, H.R. 3221. It passed with broad bipartisan support. The Democrats don't have 60 seats in the Senate, Mr. Rushbo and Ms. Ingram. Without 60 seats in the Senate, you can't cut off a filibuster, which means that Jim Bunning would have been free to stand there and bloviate about his pitching record. By the way, the last pitch he threw today appears to have hit quite a few people in the balls. That was a fastball. So here is the question, Mr. Limbaugh and Ms. Ingram. Why is it that it's the Democrats' fault that this crap is going on when Henry Paulson is a Republican? Why is it all of a sudden just the Democrats' fault that Fannie and Freddie have spent $200 million plus lobbying over the last 10, 15 years? Why is it that in 2003 and 2004, Fannie and Freddie were caught diddling the books? Do we remember this? Who was in charge of Congress in 2003 and 2004? Who was in charge of the White House in 2003 and 2004? I do seem to recall that during the time that these accounting irregularities were discovered, we had a Republican White House and a Republican Congress. Republican Congress that could have broken up these giants, sent them off into the wild blue yonder, said, by the way, The prospectus, which I put up on my video a few days ago, says there is absolutely no government guarantee of any kind. And guess what? There really ain't. We could have done that back in 2003, 2004, 2005. Yeah, we kind of lost the ability as Republicans to do that 2006, 2007, and now 2008. But the Democrats didn't orchestrate this rescue rush, Laura. The Republicans did. Henry Paulson is a Republican. Henry Paulson could have taken these two firms and put them into receivership, and then he could have run their portfolios down. He could have told the Chinese that threatened our government to go to hell. He could have then said, you know what, we need a formal mortgage liquidity provider in the form of the federal government, because right now the housing market kind of sucks. We've got to do something about this. I don't really want to, but I really don't have a lot of choice. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have Ginnie Mae, an existing federal agency that has full faith and credit mortgage bonds that they issue. He could have said Ginnie Mae is going to be the one that takes us over. We're going to do only 30-year fixed mortgages with 20% down payments in cash, 36% DTI back-end ratios. And whatever paper has been written by Fannie and Freddie up until now trades wherever the market is. If they go broke, they go broke. That's too damn bad. These guys that did this, these guys that cooked the books, that's supposed to be a crime. If there was illegality, we're going to bring them up on indictment. We're going to try them. We're going to have a jury of their peers figure out what to do. And if it's appropriate, we're going to throw them in a jail cell with a 7'4" rapist. But no. Henry Paulson, the Republican, under the control of George W. Bush, a Republican, instead did something that, according to the Congressional Budget Office, just put $5.3 trillion worth of debt, a raw doubling with one stroke of a pen, on the American balance sheet. We went from having approximately $5 trillion in public float or national debt to having over 10 in one day. The party of smaller government, the party of conservatism. If Bill Clinton had done this, I'd agree with you, it was a Democratic move. But Henry Paulson's a Republican, Mr. Limbaugh and Laura Ingram. So is George W. Bush. And by the way, so is the senator from Florida, along with a number of others, who voted for this bill, both in the House and the Senate. They've all been the subject of many of my tickers warning that this was going to happen, that Henry Paulson wasn't going to have a banana in his pants, he was going to have a bazooka, he was going to pull it, and he was going to screw us all. Well, now he's done it. And instead of putting the blame where it belongs, and instead of blasting the people who deserve to get blasted, you, too, political commentators, have the balls to go on coast-to-coast radio and proclaim that it's all a Democrat stunt. Well, you know what? The Democrats are just as guilty. And you're right about Barney Frank. But let's cut the crap. There are no innocents here between the political parties, guys. There are no innocents involved in this. Call a spade a spade. This decision needs to be reversed, and I want to hear a candidate from either political party come out and say, no guarantee, $300 billion authorization gets rescinded on the day I take office. This stuff trades at the market, and if we need a formal mortgage liquidity provider, it's going to be Ginnie Mae with 30-year fixed mortgages, 20% cash down payments, and 36% DTIs, and not one exception anywhere. You show me a political party that will do that, the other one I'll give the blame to. Until then, it belongs to both.